Line number 3. Bad sources. CaPRI's report did not rely upon original data based upon first-hand research conducted. No tests, experiments, or surveys were done, and no hypotheses scientifically tested based on primary data actually gathered from within the Jamaican context. Instead, the conclusions and inferences made within the report were based upon the secondary data sources identified by the author, Sarah Marie Very. Therefore, in order to trust the report itself, the sources upon which it relied to arrive at these conclusions, recommendations, and inferences must be assessed critically for reliability and authoritativeness in keeping with recognized academic and scientific standards. The assertions and inferences and conclusions made by the author herself must be assessed to determine whether they are actually supported by the authority cited or any authority at all. Note, an opinion stated within a paper unsupported by a credible source is not to be treated as reliable. Examples of sources that are generally unreliable for the purpose of scientific research are newspaper articles, blogs, and opinion pieces. This is because the conclusions of the authors of those pieces have not been peer-reviewed or subject to critical evaluation and the assessment of bias and methodology accuracy or soundness. The author of the CaPRI report, in support of her conclusions, cited approximately 27 newspaper articles and opinion pieces. Check it out for yourself. The author cited other sources that were non-credible or did not actually lend support to the conclusions of the author herself based on the substance of the primary subject of the source, or whether the conclusions of the cited source were misrepresented by the author of the CaPRI report. The author of the CaPRI report also made assertions that were wholly unsubstantiated. She also did not control for overt bias within the report. No adverse authority was considered, and rather than a testing of a question, a conclusion was presented subjectively as the best way forward for Jamaica, and selective research then gathered to support this conclusion. Here are a few examples. Page 17 of the CaPRI report references a 2009 study among expectant women in Jamaica, which indicated 21% of expectant teenagers reported a previous abortion. What's the source of this study? We see this at footnote 55. The source is a doctoral dissertation on oral health in maternity. Community Dental and Maternal Health Study Jamaica, does oral health care in pregnancy make a difference? A 2009 Ramona PhD dissertation of Sonia Alexander. Second example. Page 17 of the report also makes reference of a 2006 study that estimated that between 1,350 to 4,912 adolescent pregnancies are terminated in Jamaica each year. This study was applied by the author of the CaPRI report to estimate that in 2019, 20 to 50% of teenage pregnancies ended in abortion. What's the cited source? An online newspaper article titled Jamaica for an Abortion Law That Reaches the Poor, footnote 56. What of misleading statements? At page 3 of the CaPRI report, it was stated that the annual cost of treating complications from abortion in the developing world is estimated to be over $500 million annually. And what's the source? A 2008 study by Vlasov, Scherer, Walker, and Lucas titled Economic Impact of Unsafe Abortion-Related Morbidity and Mortality, Evidence and Estimation Challenges. What did the study actually say? The study cited on post-abortion care, PAC, indicated that data was severely lacking. Methods for accurate estimation were restricted. The few studies identified within the paper also used different methodology and categorizing, which made them very difficult to apply broadly. Estimates for Latin America and the Caribbean were made based on limited empirical data from 5 countries: Bolivia, El Salvador, Brazil, Ecuador, and Mexico. The studies identified were also mostly outdated, from around the 90s. 13 countries in total informed the study, which made global estimates. The study concluded, and I quote, "The evidence base on the cost of unsafe abortion is limited, and regional or global estimates are currently unknown. It went on to say, and I quote, "In each case, however, the added information, though theoretically appealing, is scant and necessitates assumptions that only roughly approximate reality. For example, the pattern of severity is maintained constant across all regions for lack of more specific regional data. This limitation probably distorts regional prevalence estimates, with only 5 empirical studies, only 2 of which are from Latin America, having used the MBP, mother-baby package costing spreadsheet. Precise estimates of global and regional costs of post-abortion care treatment are not possible." Finally, the assertion of the author of the CaPRI report at footnote 11 of the report that putting the issues of abortion and the retention of the bugger laws to referendum are inappropriate is a subjective value judgment with no data cited to lend support to the author's opinion, which suggests bias. Around the world, many sovereign nations have put these issues to referendum to determine the course the democratic country should take in charting its future. For example, Ireland, Switzerland, Portugal, Liechtenstein, Gibraltar, Croatia, Bermuda, Australia, among others. This is not without precedent. Jamaica would not be pursuing an inappropriate, quote, course of action if this was done. In fact, it was upon the promise of multiple referenda that the present administration assumed power in 2016. Fulfill your promise. Let the people decide.